45 minutes of sharing some unique ideas with you, and I hope you enjoy my choices that I have chosen. In preparing for this webinar, I realized I probably could have had enough material for 3 webinars, so I had to narrow it down to some of the maybe more unique ideas that you have not heard about previously. When we are talking about work-based learning activities, what first I think we need to think about is exactly what should these activities look like. And so I have a list here of what I would call winning ingredients. A good classroom activity is an activity that engages the student. To engage the student, you need for the student to own the activity. They need to see some really good connection of why am I doing this and how is this going to help me in the future. Another ingredient would be setting up for the students the scenario, the challenge, and solutions. In today's world, this is how businesses think, this is how we're thinking in education. This is where we are, what is the challenge that we need to do, and what are the solutions. So you want to look at your activities in the same way. Certainly, the more you can bring these work-based learning activities to the real world so that they can connect to it, and even to a real company, that is even going to make it a home run if the students can say, I really understand what you're saying because this would be good for me if I wanted to work at this company. Certainly you want to include creative types of activities where it's not a matter of reading and writing and then reporting back, but different creative ways to express yourself about work-based learning. And we certainly do want to bring in technology in any way that we can. And then an area of possibly competition. Today we live in a world where young people love gaming. They love to be on games as well as adults do. They love to compete with others, but even they would like to compete with themselves, that they want to even do better each time they do an activity. So we want to think about these ingredients as we're going through the suggested ideas that I have today. Variation is very important. As I said before, I am trying to come up with some out-of-the-box ideas for you, and the ideas that I'm thinking about that I will share are ones that directly relate to the students' careers, interests. I will talk very briefly about understanding and discovering your students' career DNA. We also want to possibly have these activities occur in different environments. It always shouldn't be in the classroom. Maybe some of the steps to carry out the activities could mean in the school building, outside the school building, talking to parents, talking to fellow students, doing surveys, getting information back about a topic. So not that everything is coming out of a book or off a computer screen. And of course we want them to be relevant and rigorous. We want them to do some really good critical thinking and some problem solving. And activities should be both individual and team collaborative. Probably in today's world we should narrow down the individual activities and increase the collaboration of working with the team. Probably the most important thing we need to do. And then the actual finished products of what the students will produce should be different, more than just a typewritten piece of paper and more than a presentation in front of a class. Maybe it would be an artistic drawing, design. Maybe it would be a video. Maybe it would be something made with nails and hammers and so forth. So it should be more than just what we're used to giving in a classroom. All these activities that I'll be talking to you about today are really work preparation activities. I'll use the word, here's internships and so forth, but these are not truly internship hours that would be counted for the work-based learning hours needed for several of the different credentials and programs. So we're talking about preparing for that internship, being in the best situation, ready to go to work for someone else. Most of the work-based learning activities also work around career awareness, Students learn, who am I? Career exploration, is this career for me? And then finally activities that have to do with application. Let's get going. What do you need to get that job and actually get into that work experience? So here's number one. First thing, what we need to do more of is get out of the textbook and start to collaborate with our local industries. If you're diligent and you have an advisory board or some type of connection to industry, you're going to the Chamber of Commerce or whatever, what you want to do is start talking to your corporate partners and figuring out how to bring them into your classroom. This is going to make the activity very relevant for the students. I have found in my own experience that I work with a lot of companies that were considered startup companies. They're smaller companies. They don't have a full-fledged advertising department, graphics department. They are always looking for input from different consumer groups. Well, your teens in your classroom is a consumer group. And so you could work with a local corporation. Maybe they need a marketing survey to be conducted. Maybe they want your students to try out the product. Maybe they want that student to taste the product. Maybe they would like some suggestions on what their corporate logo should look like or what a flyer would look like. And in some cases, I used to bring in employers into the classroom, and I called it Solve My Problem Day, in which the employer would describe something that he or she was having trouble with, whether it was attracting more consumers at a certain age or getting the word out or whatever it is. And the employer then describes the problem, and then the students work in groups to come up with ideas on how to solve the problem. Right? You want to bring in that new voice into the classroom. Partner with that company. You could work with larger companies. They usually have charitable projects that they're working on. They're raising funds for some organization. Get your students involved in that. So that's idea number one, really doing face-to-face with the corporations. In today's world, idea number two is I'm just amazed at our Google Maps or whatever types of maps we have on our internet that besides giving us directions on how to get to a certain site, you now can pull up on these maps the companies, the names of the companies that are located on the streets. Well, all of us probably have some type of industrial park that's close to our school or in our community, and I bet that many of you would not know how many companies are in there, what companies are in the industrial park, who could you partner with. So here's an industrial park scavenger hunt that you could do with your students. Bring up a map, bring up an industrial park, you could bring up Main Street of your community, whatever you want to do, show it to your students, and then assign your students a corporation that they would go ahead and investigate on the internet. Let them go in and say, this is what this company does, or let them find out what do they do and maybe how the school could connect to the company. So as an example, here is a company that's on Long Island in Nassau County. It's called Arkwin Industries, right? This is a company that any high school student could explore, look at their website, and then besides the exploration, what you now want the student to do is to produce something. And in this case, the production could be a virtual field trip. The student could use the information on the website. They could download it into a PowerPoint if you want, or they could just work off the website and discuss, make a presentation to the class and discuss who is this company. So here's a virtual field trip, and I'm going to go into the PowerPoint just to give you an idea. Well, maybe I didn't go in that time. Let me try this again. And let's see. Hold on. I'll go this way. So here's the PowerPoint. Right? And now here's a list of questions that maybe you would give the students when they're doing their research. Who is the company? What are their products and services? What are their corporate values? Almost every company has a mission statement and talks about their values. Who are their customers? Where is this company located? How many people do they employ? What high school courses would prepare you for a manufacturing career? This is something that they would have to find the answer to, possibly within their school building. What post-secondary education is necessary for a manufacturing career? What are some of the job titles you would find at the company? So here are pictures of their products that students can talk about, their quality, their services, engineering, who their customers are. This is all from the website. Have them put in a map to locate where the company is. Most companies, too, are also on other types of social media, such as LinkedIn and Twitter and job lines and so forth. The students can check that out. Many companies have YouTube videos that they can use. There's terminology that students can learn about the companies and share with the class. Videos that I guess I said before companies have, and I have a feeling this is going to go to that video, so I better go up to this one. Okay. And then you would want your students even to think about, well, if this is a company in manufacturing, what is a professional association that would be related to this career field? So here in manufacturing, there are a couple of professional associations, so you would teach them how to find that information and who they are. Maybe something about preparation for education. Just give you an idea of what you could do with something such as this for your students. So let me go back to our field trip. And certainly if you have the students do the field trips, you can always invite the corporation in to even talk about their company. Suggestion number 3, competitions. I have found that many professional organizations, Chamber of Commerces, so forth, like to be involved with school districts. In fact, they like to be involved with several school districts at one time. And they usually like to get involved in a way in which they can create a competition where students would compete for possible goal or possible reward or something, award or something of that nature. Here at the Huntington Chamber of Commerce, every year they have a young professionals entrepreneur contest in which over 15 schools participate. Students write their business plans and get ready to sell a product and so forth, and they are mentored by businesses as well as they are evaluated by the Chamber of Commerce in the final competition. If you have a chamber and they don't have a competition, get together with your chamber. See if you can create a competition and get that going in your area. Here's a professional organization called SHRM. If you went to the WECA conference this past week in Albany, you would have heard from a number of people who belong to SHRM. SHRM is the Society of Human Resource Management. These are the human resources people in all the companies in the nation. In New York State, we have about 15 SHRM chapters all over New York State, and SHRM has produced a program that can be used in your schools in which it has to do with making your students more aware of workforce readiness as well as promoting careers in human resources. So here is just 3 parts of the program that SHRM people could come to your classroom and talk about these areas, or all of this information is available on the website shown below. The PowerPoint, the materials to teach with are all there, and you could deliver the same information to your class. So components include career pathways, communication skills, critical thinking and problem-solving skills. At the end, the students actually get a credential that they have completed the program and that they would make a good human resources assistant, and that would help them get a job. So this happens to be SHRM, but there are other professional organizations that do this also. Many times I'm asked about talking about discovering your student's career DNA. Whenever you talk about careers and you start the discussions about what do you like, what do you think you want to do, do you want to go to college or something, there should be a baseline in which you could help your students make decisions rather than guessing or estimating what they want to do. I am sure in New York State probably every school uses the Dr. John Holland Code, which is in New York State Career Zone. It's a free activity. It's probably one of the best activities that you could use to help establish a baseline for your students in making decisions. What I've done is I've taken Dr. John Holland's materials. I have renamed it called Discover Your Career DNA, and I have been able to match the career DNA, the results, to helping students choose high school courses, clubs, internships, college majors, jobs, and the U.S. military opportunities. I'm sure you're aware that the Dr. John Holland Code is made up of 6 areas of interest: realistic, investigative, artistic, social, enterprising, conventional. All of us are a blend of all those 6 interests, but 3 of those interests are stronger than the others. They rise to the top. And if you know your DNA code, you really will be able to reach out to resources online that, for example, I am in SEC. I am social, enterprising, and conventional. Conventional, in a way, means organized. All right, I can go to the government site, ONET, and look to see what are all the career job titles that have SEC in it. I can also have them, I also can turn around and say, well, you know, I'm a teacher, but I really always wanted to be a police officer. Well, I can go to ONET and put in police officer, and it will tell me what my interest DNA should be. So this is a wonderful connection of a baseline of knowing who you are and your DNA, and then matching it to other choices. I'll be sharing with everybody after the webinar my playbook, I call it, Discover Your Career DNA Playbook, and that playbook will show you how I've matched high school courses, clubs, and so forth to the DNA. And I have found that colleges have actually interpreted their college majors to the DNA. So I actually could go and find out what are the college majors that would be good for me, an SEC person, which happens to be a business education teacher, which is where I started from. So now we can bring this DNA and John Holland's information into many other different types of work-based learning activities. All right, now this is an activity in which the student is going to review their DNA, they're going to go out and explore careers, and they're going to actually do some really good hands-on types of activities to find out if this is the right career for themselves, as well as they'll finish up with doing some activities to prepare them to go out and look for a similar job. Extreme Intern is a site that I have been working on for about 4 years now. It is a free site. There's no charge to go onto this site. I'll show you the URL in a second. Extreme Intern has 2 components. There are 2 companies, fictitious companies, that are part of this: Global Planet Solutions and Cloud City. Global Planet Solutions is a large company, fictitious now, made up of 6 subsidiaries. And you're going to see where I'm going with this. There is Snow Mountain Technology, which we call our realistic division. They're located in Montreal, Canada. Future Tech is the investigative division. They're located in Hawaii. Euro Studios is the artistic division, and they are in Paris, France. The social division is Window of Opportunity Mission, and we have them in Kenya, Africa. Cobra, Sports and Entertainment, Enterprising, are located in New York. And then the Century Swiss Assets Company, Conventional, located in Switzerland. Now, in creating this online adventure, it's not really a game. It's in somewhat a game, but it's truly an adventure, a career adventure. What they would be doing is actually going to these various places around the globe to actually work in an internship. I apologize for half of the screen not being as clear as it should. I didn't get a really good screenshot of this chart, but I will go over it with you. The first thing is the student decides to take the challenge. The second step is the student takes the John Holland Talent Assessment. So they get their career DNA. They go to the talent manager, and the talent manager tells that student, well, your career DNA, your strongest interest, if it's realistic, then we're going to send you off to our Snow Mountain Technology company in Montreal. If you are artistic, you'd be flying off to Paris. When you actually are in the game, you will see that people are actually talking to you. These pictures of people, these are Vokies, and these are talking mentors that will actually speak to you and tell you what to do. There is some reading, but not a lot of reading to do. It's more hands-on, working on different projects. So you would get your instructions, and off you would go and to a location, and at that location you would then carry out 3 different internships, which would be actually 9 different tasks. On the next slide, I'm going to show you the types of internships I'm talking about. I'll do the whole cycle, however, first. After the student finishes all of the 9 tasks, right, they then go to a special career strategy playbook just made for that interest area, such as realistic or investigative. In that playbook, they review their likes, their dislikes, the courses they should take, the college majors, the military options. So again, we're doing all that career DNA again, and they're applying it. They can see it. It's coming to life. They will create a resume, which they put their internship activities in. They do a SWOT analysis. SWOT analysis is an analysis of your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities, and T stands for threats, but we like to say challenges. So they actually go through, well, do I fit into this area, this career area, and this job? And then the next step is they either go back to their second letter of their DNA and follow the whole circle, and then come back and do a third. Now this adventure can be done by a class for 3 weeks. It would take the students to do one of the letters. It can be done as independent study. You can do it once a week on Friday, have the students do it at home because this is accessible from home. There's the URL in the bottom of the corner. If you as a teacher log in for your school, then you could create one login password for everyone. So that means your students don't have to have an email to be logging in. They would log in with a school login. They save their materials not at the adventure site. They save the materials to either their smart drive stick or their public drive that they have in school, wherever they're saving materials. So here's a chart now of, again, the DNA areas, the corporations, where they're located and what they do. But now this is what I wanted you to see really are the internships. You can see that if this student realistic went to Snow Mountain, this student would be trying out a mechanical engineering technician. Notice the RI. They would also try out computer support specialist, RIC. They would also try forest and conservation technician, RIE. Now if I could talk to you, I would say, what are those letters? That's the career DNA for those occupations. So with our students, it's not so much that we're concerned, well, I'm not sure if I want to be a mechanical engineering technician in Montreal, but I did like the types of tasks I was doing, and my DNA, I do have an R and an I in it, so this may be the right pathway for me. So we're more concerned about are they enjoying the types of tasks and not worried so much about where they are and the job title itself. Investigative, we have astronomer, medical science, school psychologist assistant. Notice they all start with the letter I. Fashion designer, this is a fun one for many of the students. They are doing fashion design, photography, media arts director, all starting with the letter A. Under social, registered nurse, working in an elementary school, working as a social worker. Enterprising, sports marketing, talent management, promotions manager. In this group, they actually go with a rock band and they fly to Chile for their tour. They learn how to make airline reservations. They do a variety of things of what they would actually do as an intern in these different positions. Finally, the conventional one, organized people, financial analyst, archivist assistant, geophysical data technician, just to see if they do like this area. The second component that we added on to Extreme Intern was another area that we realized that there were so many occupations that we were missing a certain group of them. So we added on a leg called Cloud City. Cloud City is an island in which they need to hire 600 interns annually for their gala celebration that goes on for a week. So these interns come in from all around the world. That would be your students. They would take certainly the John Holland assessment, but they also take the industry career cluster assessment, because there are two decisions students need to make: what job title would be good for them and what industry they would want to work with that job title. So we're introducing them to two assessments that are going to really help them make better decisions. So in this case, they are guided by their industry cluster. So if they came up high with agriculture, they would be going and helping with animal training, floral designer, and a horse groomer. If they would in architecture and construction, they would be doing internship tasks such as carpenter, plumber, electrician. I will send you the charts for both of these extreme internship sites so you have a better idea. There is also a teacher's manual, pamphlet, which I guess you could say, that would also give you ideas of how to incorporate this in your classroom. I should also add to this is that for the first time this year, I actually taught an online class of students at a local Long Island high school. I was their teacher. They took this whole experience online with me for a full semester. So there's even an option there along the way that we're working up to that students could be doing this online, learning how to take an online class, and then learning about careers. Whew. Okay, some more information about virtual internships. I have shown you things that I have created with another woman who's very good in technology, but here's something that you could do also. This is a virtual cosmetology internship. This was created for a local high school with the cosmetology teachers, and what they wanted to do was to give their students in cosmetology an idea of what it would be like to work in a salon. And as you know, that when the cosmetology students go out, and they should go out, they are not able to cut hair or use chemicals or so forth, but yet they need to be educated in this. So I'm going to open up the actual website. This is a website that's created by Google on a Google platform, so it was a free website, and we named the salon Sexy Hair Salon, and the students go through these, I guess it's 12 tasks, and they actually feel like they are doing something for this particular salon. Here's like about Sexy Salon, who are the owners, information about employment, what are the types of jobs, and all of this is fictitious. This is not a real company. All right, this is all made up so the students feel as if they are working in a company. There's actually an internship handbook and some guidelines. They prepare for an internship, but we actually also have inserted videos, so such as this here, where we pulled videos out from YouTube. So in this case, Sabrina, the salon assistant intern, she is going to discuss her internship experience with someone who works there. And then there are questions for the students to answer and to do so and then move on to the next task. So to create something like this by yourself is really just a matter of setting up a roadmap. And then Google Sites is like Microsoft Word. You just have to follow it, add in your pictures, add in what you want to do, and you end up with really a great virtual internship for yourself. So let me go back to where we are here. Hold on. All right. And look, wrong way. Here's another one, another virtual internship. We actually do this in the work-based learning classes that I teach. In the second course, I'll be asking all my students to actually create a virtual internship for something, for an experience for their students. And in the beginning, you remember I said, let's connect it to a real company, let's make it real. Well, in this situation, it was a high school that's in the Buffalo area, and the teacher knew that many of his students were really excited about the Buffalo Sabres, and boy, they would like to work in sports marketing. But sometimes it's difficult to get a high school student as an intern into a sports environment. Many of the colleges are placing students there, but yet you can actually create your own internship. You can come up with the idea of, well, what would, as an example, an assistant to the marketing manager of the Buffalo Sabres, what would that person do? And so it's a matter of, let's see, sorry, a little touchy screen here. Come back. There we go. Here's the actual site. So in task 1, they are doing a media presentation about the team. In task 2, they're doing some type of strategy and forecasting report. In task 3, they're doing a press package. And then there's some other activities along the way, other videos. There's a career DNA activity in the beginning so that they can find their DNA and see where they fit into the organization. So very easy to do, another Google site that will work for you. All right. Another creative idea. I started teaching as a business education teacher many ages ago, at the time when they had a class called Office Practice 2, and it was a double period of making believe we were a company. And boy, this is a long time ago, so this was not the easiest thing to do, to change my classroom into a company, but we did it. And then for many years, as I was the work-based learning coordinator, and I taught a related instruction class for all my students in work-based learning, every once in a while I would say, let's change our company or our classroom into a company. Let's work as a team. Now, if you're looking at this and you're familiar with virtual enterprise, you would say this is exactly what they do in virtual enterprise to a certain degree. VE, Virtual Enterprise International, is a highly connected educational activity to all different schools around the world. So I'm not going that far in this, but what I'm doing is I'm actually setting up within my classroom, and in this case what I call the Talent Pipeline Staffing Services. I want to get my 20, 25, or 30 students that are in my class, I want them to get to work and work together performing tasks for our particular company. And the best company I thought of was that if all these students are working in different places already in the afternoon, have them work in the classroom. So you start with, you interview, I'm sorry, this is a very sensitive mouse. You interview for the office manager, and you get an administrative assistant. You have your students actually apply for these jobs, and then you offer them 4 different departments. It could be more than 4 departments. I kept it simple for the screen. There will be a group of students that will be involved in intake and recruitment. These students would be involved in giving the students the career DNA test so the students can get their information. They will handle the roster, whatever information that we would need to keep on our employees. Then there would be a group that would be involved in training. Right? There are different skills. In intake and recruitment, you're talking about social skills, but you're also talking about conventional organization skills. In training, you're talking about students who are going to be willing to stand in front of the class or work one-on-one in training the class members in maybe some computer operations, like maybe they would do a Microsoft Word training or an Excel training, maybe training in how to handle cash and how to give change, training in customer service. Now these are units, these are things that I would be doing with them at some time, and then we put it all together into a package. There's a group that's placement, that are looking maybe for jobs in the community to find for our students, jobs that are either in the school or out of the school, on campus, off campus. And then a big job for myself as a work-based learning coordinator is I have to keep all the records. I have to record all the hours that the students are working. So why not an accounting department that could maybe help me with this? So here I could have a nice environment of my students learning about how to work together, learning basic skills to be in a similar office to this at the same time while they're working outside. Now you could take this up a notch, up a step, in which you could open this office up to all the students in your school. For example, maybe you would ask one of the other teachers who maybe is teaching career and financial management if he or she would like his students to go through the intake process, where the students would actually take the DNA, and this department would record this information and give it back to the students that are in another class. Maybe I would send one of my students to do some training on customer service in Intro to Business class. The placement students, once you are known in your community that there's a work-based learning program, you will have lots of job opportunities that will come your way that you can't fill, because you're looking for specific job opportunities for your students, but then you're going to have many other opportunities that a new McDonald's will open up, a new Target would open up, or something of that, and you're not going to use them for more than one student maybe. Well, now the placement department can start to advertise those job opportunities to your school student body. Many of the work-based learning coordinators that I know have bulletin boards of all the different jobs that are available that they are not using for their own work-based learning students. So you have the placement group putting this bulletin board up for all those students that you've been taking through this process over here. And then maybe you would even keep track of the hours of what the students, if they get the jobs, maybe you would keep track of those hours that they're not in your program, but your students in your classroom are getting the experience. So it's just a virtual situation, taking it so that your students are learning how to work together, but yet it has a purpose for your own program, and it has a major purpose for your school. Okay, moving on. Just some specific work-based learning activities related to the work-based learning, your students. They will be going out and working for a number of hours. You will want them to certainly learn specific tasks, but also learn communication skills on how to talk about what they are learning on their job site. So here I have a system in which I have the student learn how to respond to questions at a maybe future job interview, and the questions would be based upon what they learned at their work-based learning site. So if the question was, I could change one thing at work, it would be what, why, maybe how. We need to help our students start off with an opening statement. If I could change one thing at my job at Stop and Shop, it would be my department. I would like to take one more responsibility at work. I have applied for a position at the courtesy desk. I would like this position because helping customers with their problems is very satisfying to me. And I know that if I am understanding and patient with customers, they will continue to shop at our store. So here the student is not just saying, well, I would just change this in my job, or this is what I would want to do more, but they have more of an explanation of how this all comes together. So with my students in the work-based learning classes and my former students, high school students, I actually have a list of 20 questions. Here's a question: I really like my job at Wegmans. All right, so how should you respond to that? I really like my job at Wegmans because I like to keep busy and work with a lot of people. Working as part of a team helps me help many customers. I will continue to work as a team player to keep the customers coming back to the store. So these journalizing activities become answers to future job interview questions. New York City has a wonderful website. At our WECA conference this past week, we had Scott Mendelson, the Director of Work-Based Learning in New York City. He came and talked about what's going on in his area. I have shared with you the URL to his site. He has some really great activities that you need to take a look at. One in particular that he shared with us at the conference on Friday was he takes the work-based learning tasks and he asks the students to figure out how, when they perform those tasks, how do they contribute to the workplace, or how do they contribute to making a profit for the company. So I really like this because it's another step in which students are looking at, well, I'm doing these tasks, but what's the reason for me to be doing this task? How does that affect the bottom line of the company? Does it increase customers? Does it save money? All right, so it's another way for the student to look at their job site and not of how much money I'm making and how many hours, but what am I doing to make a difference? And these are the things they would talk about in their job interview. Another great fun activity that my students love to do, both high school and then my online adult students, is create a virtual textbook. Right? Take a student's training plan of their 10 tasks that they're going to be doing at the job site, such as food prep, okay? And take the tasks over here. You can get the tasks from ONET. If you have students that are not working, you can still say, well, if you want to be a dental assistant, a food prep, or whatever, look it up on ONET, put down the tasks, and now do some research on the internet to find how would you better educate yourself and prepare yourself to actually do these tasks. And it's amazing what you can find on the internet. For example, if your task is to clean and sanitize work areas, there's a site for you to look up about food preparation and kitchen sanitation. There's actually a quiz at the site, and here's the URL for this particular activity. So you want your students to take the task, find an activity, and something that they can do to produce and give back to you, the teacher. They love it. They just don't realize how many things they can find. It almost educates the student before they even go out to that job. So I really recommend this, that you use it as a pre-work-based learning experience as well as a post-work-based learning experience. And I think I'm just almost coming to the end here. I'm up to two more. All aspects of industry. A number of years ago, it was added into the work-based learning manual for New York State, where we want our students, yes, to learn about how to perform in a specific job, but that's the small picture. They need to know the big picture, that wherever they go into any company, they need to look at it in a different lens, I guess you could say. They need to understand who's who in the company. So in this particular list of activities, and I'll be sharing this with, sending it out to all of you who are online, so you'll have all these things. They learn to create an organization chart of the company that they're working for. They learn to find a job description. If they can't get it at their company, they can go to ONET and get a job description, so they know specifically what they're doing, and they use the vocabulary that's used in the business world. They learn how to create a career ladder. If they're starting at a cashier, what's the next step up in that company that they can move to, and then what's the next step after that, so they can see progression. They will accumulate samples of their work. They will look for advertisements for that company, and how do they market their items. You will talk to them about who are the mentors at the job site, who's helping you at that job site make decisions, and so forth. You can see product literature, company systems, who are the competitors in this field. The best place for a student to get the next job is with a competitor. Right? If they stay within the same type of industry, they should move to the competitor, because now they are worth something to that competitor. They are trained and they have inside information, so they should be paid more if they move. What makes it difficult sometimes for young people is they move all over in different areas, and so they're always that entry-level position. So sooner or later they need to find where they need to go and then stay in that industry and move along. They can do the other things. I remember the students always loved creating a floor plan. They actually had to draw out a floor plan with a ruler. Where's the bathroom? Where's the exit doors? Whose office is here, and so forth. Love to do that. They research the history of the company. Oops. Interesting. You know, do you really know who started McDonald's? Who was the owner? Who started Costco? You know, where does that all come from? It's good for them to know that information, as well as how is their company what are they doing on social media? What are they doing in relation to professional associations and unions? This is a really great end-of-the-year project, like the last 10 weeks of your course, if you really want to get that student into understanding the whole picture of the work world. All right, last one, and then we have a few minutes for questions. If you're in my course right now, you know that I am really excited about having all my future work-based learning coordinators connect to LinkedIn. We are finding LinkedIn to be a great resource for educators, not for looking for jobs, but for finding resources, people who will come in, be guest speakers, and host field trips, and even hire your students. Well, I'm also finding that in colleges, they are now including this as part of their educational process, that all college students should have a LinkedIn account. What I'm hearing from human resources people, and what we heard from our SHRM panel on Thursday night, is LinkedIn is the new resume. This is what they're going to look at. This is what they want to check. This is where you are advertising who you are if you are looking for a job. Well, sure enough, now I'm finding that in some cases they're actually teaching high school students how to create a LinkedIn profile. Now, I know this could be a problem. You don't want to have students certainly going on social media or whatever, you know, that there's a lot of maybe parent protection and so forth. But what you could do with them is you could have them create a profile on paper, so that they would be ready when they do move into that time, when they're ready to move up and be in LinkedIn, they would have something to look back at. So LinkedIn actually came out with how to create a site for a high school student. I am finding high school students on LinkedIn now too. And you know, with LinkedIn, you don't have to put your telephone number, your address, or anything like that. It can be very simple, what you're giving the world. So your photo, your headline, your summary, the experience you have, the honors and awards that you have won. So this is your live or living resume. Projects that you've done in school, courses you've taken, skills and expertise, organizations you belong to, volunteer experience, education, recommendations. All right? So this is something, as I said, you could have them create on paper and be ready to move forward to actually create a real one if you want them to. Excuse me. So I think we have come to the end. So Gretchen, are you there?
I am here, Sue. You have a couple questions.
Okay, let me see if I can fit them.
Question is, what course, other than middle school FACS class, does this type of assessment fit in considering the new state standard?
Should I assume the assessment they're referring to is the John Holland Code, the Career DNA?
Yeah, this was asked in the beginning of your webinar.
Okay, so the John Holland Code, DNA, should be actually given several times over the young person's educational career. 8th grade is a great place to start. You see over here, I also have a book out called Games to Careers, that this is even for the younger people. I discovered that while watching my son play and how he played and what he played with, it actually connected to the John Holland Code. Excuse me. So if you wanted to do something earlier than 8th grade, you may want to take a look at Games to Careers. But after that, almost every grade level, 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th, there are different versions of the John Holland Code. You'll find it in Career Zone. You'll find it on ONET. It's in Naviance, a guidance system that they have. So what you would want them to do is to continually take it in different classes and compare their results each year. A lot of people ask the question, well, doesn't it change as they get older? It does change. Their code does change a little bit, but basically they will keep 2 of the 3 letters over and over again. So they'll be consistent. So this could happen in any class. You could do it in any CTE class. I have gone to schools and done it in 8th grade English classes and social studies classes and journalism classes. It can be done at any place, anytime. So I hope that's the answer they're looking for.
Okay. The next question is, virtual internships are great, but will it count as work-based learning?
Well, I said in the beginning, these are all work preparation activities. So it's not supposed to count, it should not count as true work-based learning activities. A true work-based learning activity takes the student out of the school environment to work with other adults in a different environment. We need to give that to the students. That's so important that they do learn to operate independently without all the fallback people in line in case something goes wrong. So great preparation, but the hours don't count.
Okay. The next question is the LinkedIn High School found on the standard site?
The LinkedIn, the last activity that I was doing, the how to create a LinkedIn profile, I'm going to be sending that sheet out with all the other things that I have. So I'm not too sure if I did answer that question.
Okay. Next question. With the virtual internships, do students get to choose one particular internship of the 3 in the identified areas, or do they need to complete all 3?
Well, they will get better results about knowing more about who they are and where they should be focused, where they should be going, if they do at least 3. 1 is not enough. Okay? However, you could work something out with your school and you could say, let's have them do 1 in 9th grade, they'll do a 2nd in 10th grade, and a 3rd and so forth, going up, spread it around several classes. Don't just have this for one particular class, because all your students may not take one particular class. Plus, if they take it in 9th grade, they really need to be looking at this site several more times in their educational process. So it needs to be spread over 4 years to be truly effective.
Okay.
And if they take all 6, that's even better. So,
okay.
do we have another one?
Is the matching the career DNA similar in format to personality tests that we've done in college where we take a test in order to match group members up based on what their personalities are and what would work best with each other.
Okay, the John Holland interest test is different from the Myers-Briggs personality test. The John Holland interest test is really based upon your interest, and sometimes they use the word personality to want to do that particular job, where the Myers-Briggs is truly how you interact with other people. Myers-Briggs is normally given at the college level, and it does cost money, where John Holland doesn't cost anything, which is really great for us in the high school area.
Okay. There's a question asking for clarification regarding the certification at Arkwin, asking if that's the lean certification or the lead certification.
You know what? I'd have to go back and look at that slide. It's probably lean, but it could, I know what this individual is asking. I'd have to go back and check, and even go back to check on the website to see if it's possibly a typo or not. But thank you for pointing that out. All right.
Okay. The next question is, if a class has already done career DNA, can they enter the virtual internship program midpoint?
Oh, sure. Yeah, you can go into the Extreme Intern at any time, and if they've done their DNA already and the teacher is happy with the results, you want all your students to say, this is me, all right, that I feel this is my interest letters. So that's why I suggest to take the assessment at least twice. If the assessment at the Extreme Intern is different than the one they've already taken, have them take the second one. But yes, they can go in at any time. You can do anything with it at all, but it's like anything, that if you only do a part of something, you're not going to get the whole entire value of the experience. And you know, believe me, in creating this adventure, I truly wanted to make sure that I was pulling through a lot of good, strong career counseling activities and thoughts that this will help the student in the end. They need to complete the whole process.
Okay, and we have one more question. How does the John Holland test compare to the ASVAB test?
Okay, we heard a lot about the ASVAB test at the WECA conference this week. The ASVAB test is a great assessment. It will assess your aptitudes, which is truly, your aptitudes are truly what you are born with, your abilities that you're born with. I guess it's questionable to say, well, we're born with interest, the DNA. To some degree we are, but the ASVAB is truly your abilities to do a job. Maybe not like a job, but to do a job. What's nice about now is the ASVAB have taken their results and related it to the John Holland Code. So if you come out strong in 2 or 3 of the ASVAB areas and it points towards realistic, you now really have great assessments. In fact, I should add ASVAB to Extreme Intern.
Okay, and one more question. When you say 3 weeks for internship, how many hours does that compare to?
Okay, I was trying to give you an idea that right now we have close to 3,300 students enrolled taking the Extreme Intern adventure. That probably relates to about 175 to 200 high schools that are taking it. So we get a lot of feedback from the schools as far as how long does it take to do certain parts of the adventure. And so when I say one letter for 3 weeks, that's 15 class periods. They should be able to do the assessment to come in and do the 9 internship tests. I should also add, too, that when the student does the 9 internship tests, they are going to be producing a product, producing work, outcome. That work is to be given to the teacher in the classroom. The teacher now, in a way, becomes the boss or the mentor at that job site. So it's not a matter of students going zip, 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 I done it, I did it, I did it, I did it, I'm finished, they are actually producing something and are going to have to hand it in for you, the teacher, to say, this looks like a good PowerPoint, this looks like a good laptop design, this looks like something good. You have that control over it, so it has a lot of really good hands-on control.
All right, Sue, there's no more questions.
Let me just add that if there are more specific questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to me at sue@careersmarts.com. If I didn't answer the questions fully enough and that you want to ask me again, please do so. I'll be happy to respond. And if you've been on my webinars before, you know that as soon as I do get the contact information, I'll be sending out the PowerPoint and many of the, I have a lot of things to send to you this time that I talked about. So you'll have all of these pieces in your hands.
Great, thank you, Sue. On behalf of the Technical Assistance Center, thank you for joining us today. And as a reminder, this webinar will be archived at nyctecenter.org.
And you know what, Gretchen, we probably should mention that my next webinar is April 23rd, and it'll be Building Advisory Boards.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks.